Hey, what's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media, coming at you with a video today looking at Penn State for 2025. I don't want to make these preview videos like 20 minutes long like I have in years past. I really want to try to make them quick, maybe somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes, maybe 5 to 15 minutes. I mean, if we could make these quick, that'd be great. Want to get every single team that I possibly can this off season previewed and ready for 2025. And we're going through some of we did Alabama, and I figure we'd start with there just to get them out of the way. But now I kind of want to look at the playoff teams that are not in the national championship. And I think maybe the next one after this might end up being Notre Dame or Ohio State, whoever wins. But then we'll start and go through the playoff teams we got this year, and then we'll work our way through bowl teams or something like that. It's going to be a little different this time around. Usually, I start with the national champion, but because the season is ending so late in January because of the expanded playoff, we wanted to get a head start, so we try to get every single team on time. So, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. Really love and appreciate all of you out there. Really would appreciate it if you show some love as well. So Penn State 13 and 3, and in the NFL that's a good season, and honestly it's a good season for Penn State too. They had one regular season loss to Ohio State 20-13 at home, and then they lost the Big Ten championship game by 8 points to Oregon, who I think a lot of us could agree that we thought was going to just run the table. Even in a weird year of a 12-team playoff, it looked like they were on verge of winning a national title for the first time in a long time. And uh, they obviously fell to Ohio State, but who hasn't? We'll see if Notre Dame can overtake Ohio State Monday night. We're looking forward to it. But Penn State, getting back to them, a 20-13 loss and a 45-37 loss. So overall, 11 and 2. Or well, I say that 13 and 3 overall, due to the playoff loss to Notre Dame. They had won two playoff games. They won the first round against SMU. They won against Boise State. And then they lose to Notre Dame, who has looked phenomenal since that Northern Illinois loss this season. So, some things you need to know about Penn State too. It's it is early to announce this decision, but he seems pretty confident he can win a championship next year. Drew Aller is coming back for Penn State, along with Dennis Sutton, Katron Allen, and Nick Singleton. At least I think Dennis Sutton is coming back, but I know that Katron Allen and Nick Singleton want to. Um, so they want to come back, and they say that they want to finish the job. They have unfinished business, and they have quite a bit for the draft. They have some guys going, but at the same time, they returned maybe 90% of their production from last year. I mean, guys just want to come back. They have unfinished business. They want to beat Ohio State next year. They want to get to the national championship game and hopefully win it. And a couple years ago, if you had asked me if Penn State could do any of that, I would have said you're crazy if you think they can. I said I got to see them do it first. But at the same time, now it's like I think I'm ready to join the train of Penn State here. I think I'm ready to hop on board. Like I love Penn State. My grandparents are Penn State alumni and everything like that. You've heard me talk about that. But at the same time, I'm realistic. Like if Penn State's having a down year, I'm not gonna kind of screw around and say that they're a great team. I'm going to tell you if they're having a bad year that they're a bad football team. They haven't had a really bad year in a long time. They usually hang around that 10 and 2 frame and that's usually what they end up doing. But they were able to go 11-1 in the regular season, only lost to Ohio State. Then they lose to Oregon. Not bad losses. Ohio State's playing Notre Dame, who beat Penn State in the semifinal. So you lost to the two teams in the national title and the pretty much going into the playoffs to the big favorite to win it all, who lost to a team that's in the title. So best three best three-loss team. I know we joke about best one-loss teams and two-loss teams, but I mean, is Penn State the best three-loss team that finished out this year? Could be. We'll see. But I like them this year in 2025. Again, I know it's early to predict, and the season's not over until Monday night, but we got to get these teams out and we got to predict and we got to go forward with all these. I'll make this one quick on you guys. Let's go ahead and look at the 2025 schedule. And I'll try to make this one quick because I think it's obvious going into this season what Penn State's capable of doing and what they could do overall. So, I don't really see much room for error. I think you have to ask questions about some of their opponents. If Penn State's gonna really bring back a lot of great talent that's experienced, and they get some of their games at home that are the tougher games, they gotta play Indiana, who was a playoff team, they gotta play Oregon. They get those at home. Okay, cool. But would they be better than Oregon? I mean, I don't know what the status of Oregon is at the moment, other than they will have Dan Lanning. Dylan Gabriel probably ready for the draft. He's ready to go. Um, just so much talent there, and they're recruiting off the charts. But maybe with the new quarterback next year, even though I think it not 5-star Dante Moore. I'm trying to think of who they brought in, but correct me if I'm wrong on that. Oregon's gonna be a great team, but they're also gonna have some young talent next year that will be a little inexperienced and lack the experience leadership. And again, I'm not saying any of that to diss on them. I'm not trying to put them down. I'm not trying to do anything like that. But I look at this Penn State schedule, that could be their first loss. Now they do come off a bye week. I don't know what to make of that game yet. When in doubt, I take the home team. I usually do that. And I'm also doing what I did last year where I give you the at most record prediction where I say this is their ceiling. I think they could win that Oregon game. You go to UCLA, again, a team I don't know too much about. When in doubt, I do take the home team, but I'm not really in doubt about UCLA. I don't expect them to have that big of a season in 2025. Again, I know it's all too early and everything, but when I start looking at some of these teams, UCLA, Penn State should win. Northwestern, Penn State should win. Iowa could be a trap, could be a loss, but Penn State, if they're better than Iowa next year, they should have no problem there. Off week, and then the big stretch with Ohio State on the road, Indiana, Michigan State. Who else we got? Nebraska and Rutgers. I think they beat Nebraska and Rutgers, but who knows what Nebraska is going to look like? I don't really have much faith in Rutgers right now. But I look at Indiana, who's a playoff team from this year, lost in the first round, unfortunately, to Notre Dame. And I know a lot of people are loving Kurt Signegi and what he's been able to do. And maybe he has a better year next year. Maybe he takes a small step back. Maybe he gets to the first round again and falls short and just has a repeat. I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of question marks. And again, I know it's early, but it is fun to predict. And if I want to cover every single college football team this offseason, we got to get a head start on who's finished their season already. And Penn State has. My initial thoughts, I look at this, I say that Ohio State game could be their only loss. Let's say if they do run the table and they have that run where their ceiling is 11-1 record. I'm not picking them to win in Columbus, nor am I going to pick them to beat Ohio State any given year until I see them do it. Because even if Ohio State's having a tough year, At times, Ryan Day has James Franklin's number. Urban Meyer had James Franklin's number. Penn State is coming up on 9 years of losing to Ohio State, and that hurts. That's sad. I know a lot of college football fans out there, unless you are a Buckeye fan, love to watch this game, but they always hope that Penn State's on the verge of doing that, and they can keep it close every single year at Beaver, and then they go to Columbus at the Shoe, and I just I cannot pick against Ohio State in that game until I see it happen. That being said, go ahead and give a record prediction. I love Penn State this year. 11-1 is what I'm gonna go with at most for their ceiling. They're gonna take a loss to Ohio State. I'm confident of that. They could go 10-2 if they lose to Iowa or maybe a Nebraska or Oregon if they drop another game. This is a tough schedule after that first bye week. I'm not going to sleep on the Rose Bowl Stadium in Pasadena with UCLA. You never sleep on Big Ten opponents. I'm not high on Northwestern. I don't know anybody that is. Iowa, you never sleep on Kinnick Stadium. What if that's a night game? What if, you know, there's a lot of what ifs because we don't have game times for any of this yet. We don't know what's going to be night, noon, afternoon, and we don't know about injuries and stuff. You can only predict so much at the moment. But again, if we give a reasonable record prediction right now, I think it is safe to say 11-1 at the moment with Penn State and James Franklin, and again, the loss being Ohio State at the moment. Could they win that? Sure. We got to see who all goes to the draft, who all comes back for the Buckeyes, who comes back for these other opponents like Oregon or whoever. Uh, a lot a lot to really look into, but it is fun for me to predict. I love to predict, and I could not wait any longer to get these started for you guys, even though we only have one game left. It's on January 20th. Well, we're at the end of the month here, and the month's gone by, and I don't want to have it go by and have missed opportunities to preview some teams. So here's Penn State 2025. I'm gonna say 11-1 at most with a loss to Ohio State. Could they win that? Sure. Lose to Oregon. I don't think they go 12-0. I don't, but they could go 11-1 and end up back in the Big Ten title game. Could they rematch with Ohio State? I think that's possible, and maybe then, where it's hard to beat the same team twice in the same season, Penn State could end up beating Ohio State in a rematch. But let's focus in on regular seasons for these previews and just give it what it is and say 11-1. Really good season, really good record for Penn State. They'll be back in it next year, and we'll just have to wait and see. Love you guys. Jesus loves you. God bless. Like and subscribe to Ballard Sports Media, and we'll see you next time here on the channel, Ballard Sports Media.